Okay, guys, today we have to discuss and we'll start from our lecture number 1, and that will be for the procurement rule. You see here? Yeah, this is the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority PPRA rule. We'll discuss Ordinance 22. So the first thing here is short title and commencement. This rule may be called Public Procurement Rule 2004, and they shall come into force at once. It means that short titlement and commencement, so refer to the official name of the rules and when they become effective. Okay, the short title indicates that the official name by which these rules are known, which is the Public Procurement Rules 2004. And the commencement clause specify when these rules come into effect, which is immediately upon their publication or issuance. For example, if a government issue new procurement rule in 2024, they might be titled Public Procurement Rule 2024, and they would become effective as soon as they are officially announced or published. Okay. Now we have some general provision and there's some definition for clarities that what we will consider, how we interpret if we have some words, some terms, and these rules. There's some definition which I told you before. Okay, and these rule, unless there is anything repugnant in the subject or context. And now we have a bidder, blacklisted. So we'll discuss one by one. It means that, unless there is anything repugnant in the subject or context, signify that the definition provided will be applied. Okay, unless the context suggests otherwise, or if using them would lead to inconsistency. Okay, you have to follow these definition. But if there's any inconsistency, then okay, definitely you go for that also. Clear? Now the first term is we have bid. What does bid means? Bid means a tender or an offer in response to invitation by a person, consultant, firm, company, or an organization expressing his or its willingness to undertake a specific task at a price. It means that bid is a tender or offer submitted in response to invitation. Okay, and it can be submitted by the individual, maybe consultant, maybe firm, maybe company, or maybe organization, and expressing their willingness to undertake a specified task at a particular price. Okay, so I means that your bid will be that will be the tender, or you may call offer, and this is submitted by person, which is this one, maybe consultant or whatever organization, and these form of person will expressing the willingness that they will show willingness that they want to undertake a specified task at a price, and they will also mention the price that they are willing to accept that that price, and they want to perform their task at that price. So we'll call that bid. For example, let me give you example. Suppose a government agency issue a request for proposal. We call it let me write here, we call that RFP. Clear? It means request for proposal. Request for proposal. Clear? So we are considering that the government agency issue a request for proposal, mean RFP, for the construction of, let's say, new bridge. Okay. Now, various construction companies submit their bids outlining their proposed plan and cost for the project. Each submission qualify as a bid, okay, according to the definition which we have studied, that bid means tender or offer in response to invitation. Clear? So that will be considered each submission that qualify each submission will be qualified as a bid. I think you have clear with that this concept that the bid is just a tender or an offer submitted in response to invitation. Clear? Now we have another term that we call as bidder, and who is performing, the person who is submitting a bid, we call it a bidder. So bidder means a person who submit a bid in response to invitation. And you see here, let's say these are the bidder, the person, consultant, a firm or company, organization, because they are submitting in response to the invitation. So we call it these people, we call these organization or people we call bidder. Clear? Now another term we have blacklisted. What is mean by blacklisted? Let me first read the terms, the words here in the rules. So bidder that is declared by the authority untrustworthy after establishing the fact that the bidder was found in any corrupt or fraudulent practice or practices, or if the bidder is declared incapable by the authority due to its established performance failure during the execution of the contract, or if the bidder deviate from its prior commitment or declaration made regarding the bid or proposal submitted by the bidder. So we have three things here, 1, 2, 3. If any bidder fall in this category, that we consider blacklisted. The first one is this is blacklist is just a status assigned by the authority to the bidder based on a certain criteria, and the criteria is if a bidder is found to be involved in corrupt or fraudulent practice, then that will be considered blacklisted. Okay, the second one, I mean the involved in here, let me highlight it. Okay, wait. This one, you see, the first one is where is it here? The bidder will declare authority untrustworthy up to the fact that the bidder was found in or involved in any corrupt or fraudulent practice or practices. So this is the first criteria. Now the second one is if the bidder is deemed incapable by the authority due to the documented performance failure during the contract execution. If someone is if any bidder who has is a bad reputation or incapable by the declared by the authority due to their established performances, their documented performance failure during the contract execution, then that will also be considered. Wait, here, here. A bidder is declared incapable of authority due to established performances failure during the execution. So if he has failed previously during the performance, he has a bad reputation of execution of the performance, then that will be considered blacklisted. Now the third one is here you see the bidder deviate from its prior commitment or declaration made regarding a proposal submitted. It means that if a bidder failed to uphold fair commitment or declaration made regarding the bid or proposal submitted, then that will also be considered blacklisted. So we have three criteria. These three criteria established in the rules. The first one is if the bidder involved in corrupt practices. Number second, if the reputation is not to the mark, not up to the marks, means establish performance failure during execution of the contract. And the third one is the bidder if he has failed to uphold the fair commitment or declaration, then that will be also considered or blacklisted. For example, let me give you example will clarify the things in a very easy way. Suppose a company submit a bid for a government contract to provide IT services, information technology services. Now, it is later discovered that the company engaged in fraudulent activity during a previous government contract or failed to meet its contractual obligation, the authority may declare the company as blacklisted based on the criteria outlined in the rules which we have discussed. Now, this designation would prevent the company from participating in the future government procurement process until it rectify its status. So when any bidder fall, if any bidder fall and these three categories, and the company organization, let's say blacklisted, so their status will they will not perform in the future government procurement process until it rectify the status. Okay, now let's move on. I think we have another term that is call of order. Call of order is very interesting. Wait a minute, let me highlight this one you see, change the color. Okay, here, call of orders means order placed by the procuring agency under general terms and pricing on a range of goods under close framework agreement without having to negotiate terms every time. This means that a call of orders is an order placed by the procuring agency under general terms and pricing. This order is made within the framework of a closed framework agreement without need to negotiate terms each time an order is placed. So this definition implies that once a framework agreement is in place, the procuring agency can issue call of orders for specific goods and services covered by the agreement without engaging in negotiation for each individual order. Okay, for example, let's say suppose a government agency enter into a framework agreement with the supply to provide let's say office supply for a period of 2 years. Okay, now under this rule, this agreement, the supplier has agreed to set prices and term for various office supply. Clear? When the agency require office supply, instead of negotiating each time, it can simply issue a call of order specifying the quantity and the type of supply needed, and the supplier then fulfill the order based on the terms already agreed upon in the framework agreement, and this streamlines the procurement process, and also saving the time, resources for both the agency and the supplier. So we means that for call of order mean that you are not then you don't need have to negotiate the terms every time. Just simple thing, once you done with one agreement, then you have to follow that for the remaining thing, whatever you want to purchase. So the example was very clear that the government agency first enter into a framework agreement with the supplier. An example which I had told you, let's say that is a office supplies for a period of 2 years. So under this agreement, the supplier has agreed set prices and term for these office supplies. So when the agency require these supplies, office supplies, instead of negotiating each time, it can simply issue a call of order specifying the quantity and type of supply needed, and the supplier then fulfill that order. Clear? Now we have another thing here, that one is close framework agreements. Means an agreement with a specified terms and condition with agreed price. This is called close framework agreement. Means agreement with specified terms and condition with agreed price. Clear? Is in with specified terms and condition, that's including the agreed price. For example, let's say this the first you have to understand that according to the closed framework agreement, it's just a contractual arrangement between the procuring agency and the supplier, where the terms and the condition as well as the pricing are predetermined, okay, and agreed upon by both parties. So both parties so these Mr. A, like this is the procure agency and this is the supplier. They have agreed something, and they let's say this is the pricing or everything is predetermined, clear, and they have to follow that. So for example, a government agency may enter into a closed framework agreement with a construction company for the provision of maintenance service, for example, for a public infrastructure. So the agreement specifies the term of the maintenance services, such as response time, scope of the work, and the quality standard, along with the agreed upon price of each services. This contract will let's say this is the service contract, so it will be, everything will be mentioned here, okay. And everything, which means I mean that the response time, the scope of the work, the quality standards, along with the prices. So this allows the agency to efficiently procure maintenance service as needed, and without having to negotiate term for each individual service requested. Clear? So that is called closed framework agreement. And this closed framework agreement, you have to follow then the call of order. You have when you have a closed frame agreement with the suppliers, and then after that you don't need to negotiate every time, you just issue that call of orders. Clear? Now we have wait a minute here. This is called competitive bidding. This is the next definition, next term, which needs some clarification and interpretation. Okay, competitive bidding means a procedure leading to the award of a contract whereby all the interested persons, firms, companies, organizations may be bid for the contract, include both national competitive bidding and international competitive bidding. This means that procurement procedure that lead to the awards of a contract. And this procedure, all the interested individuals, firms, companies, organizations are invited to submit bids for the contract. Clear? Now, this definition encompasses both the national competitive bidding and international competitive bidding. By national competitive bidding, we means that involves inviting bids from entity within the country where the procurement is taking place. Clear? And by international competitive bidding, we means that involves inviting bids from entities located outside the country where the procurement is taking place. Let's say here's a competitive bidding process here in Pakistan, and the national contractor participating, and some bidder participating from China and from India, so that will be called international competitive bidding. So that involves inviting bids from the entity located outside the country. For example, let me give example will make it clear. Let's say the government agency issue a tender for the construction of a new road. Okay, now in this case the agency open the bidding process to all the interested contractor, whether they are local contractor within the country or international contractor from other country. Now each contractor submit their bid outlining their proposed plan and cost for the construction project. Now the agency then evaluate the bids and award the contract to the contractor offering the best values, ensuring a fair and transparent procurement process. Clear? And the last we have a contractor. Contractor means a person, consultant, firm, a company, organization who undertake to supply goods, services, or work. Clear? So it means that entity that agree to provide goods and services or work is specified in the contract. This entity can be individual, maybe consultant, a firm, or company, or organization. So, for example, a government agency decide to build a new school, okay, and issue a tender for construction services. Okay, various entities, including construction firm and company, submit bids to undertake the construction work. So once the agency evaluate the bids and select a bidders, that bidder become the contractor responsible for supplying the work. In this case, constructing the school according to the terms and conditions specified in the contract. So the difference between the contractor and bidder is very simple. Bidder and constructor. Constructor mean who avail the contract, who get the bid, that will be considered the constructor. Bidder is any person, any firm who submit their bid. But this can be anyone, bidder can be anyone, but contractor is the one who avail the contract. Okay, so that's the basic difference between the bidder and the what we call as contractor. I think this is more than enough. We have, let me summarize the thing. Wait a minute. Oh my god, what's going to happen? This is fine. We have discussed about the bid. This is the bid, and we also discussed the bidder who submit this thing. Clear? And then we have also talked about the blacklisted, that what we call that blacklisted, why we call this why we call the entity blacklisted. So any contractor, any entity that declared by the procurement agency is blacklisted, they should be blacklisted until it rectify the status. Then we have also discussed some thing like call of order, that when we issue call of order. And then we have also discussed close framework agreement, okay, followed by this thing. And at the last we have discussed competitive bidding, which will be national and international. Clear? And at the last we have talked about contractor, and inshallah in the next videos we will discuss the remaining. We'll start from the contract. Clear? Okay, thank you for watching.